Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your pastor, your host on this National Matters. And I'm so grateful to be with Team Camnet wherever you are. Before I introduce my guest to you, one of the questions that my wife and I keep asking is Zambia poor? The state of our economy. Is it the right state of economy where we are at, or we can improve it? So many questions that go through our minds. But for the past few weeks, Camnet TV, through this National Matters, we've just decided to tackle the national matters and to just bring out something that you and I can do. In the studio, I have my guest, Mr. Salanda. Mr. Salanda, please welcome to this National Matters.
Thank you so much, my pastor. I'm glad to be here.
How is your family?
The family is well. And how are you here?
We are permanently blessed. I would like you to look in that camera.
Yes.
And tell the people of Zambia, who is Mr. Salanda? Which school did you go to? Because we are a family, everyone wants to know about this, yeah.
Well, Mr. Salanda is a young man, with an origin from eastern province of Zambia, Katete to be specific, born and bred of eastern, and then partly grew up in the eastern, and then in the early 20s moved to Lusaka, and schooled in Lusaka, Chainda Primary School. Partly again moved to Chinkuli Primary School, that is around within Chongwe, and then until somewhere grade 8. From grade 8 I moved to Kafue, or rather grade 9 moved to Kafue actually, until my grade 12. That's where I completed my school from, and came back to Chongwe as my homeland. And I've been in Chongwe from then until now. Of course, between the time that I went from secondary school, moved to Lusaka a little bit, pushed life here and there, tried to raise money, because I come from a peasant background actually. My mother and my father is of a peasant farming background. And as such, it demanded that, we need to push around life and make sure that we raise something for the family, raise something for myself.
Are you the firstborn?
Actually I'm the firstborn in the family of 5.
So life demanded that you stand up to the challenge.
That's it. And actually, to make life more complicated, in 2016, the time I was completing my diploma program with ZCA, that is Zambia College of Agriculture in Mpika. Where I was doing my sustainable agriculture. That's my background. Actually, my background is of agriculture. So I did sustainable agriculture diploma there. In the final year when I was finishing, confirmed that finally we are done with the school. As we are celebrating with my fellow students, that finally we are going to dance this year, I received a call around 23, 22 that your mom has died.
Oh.
And that was the beginning of the change of life. Dad has been down for some years, I think from 2004. He has arthritis and then some other challenges. He underwent through 2 surgeries.
You went through?
Dad.
Oh, Dad.
Went through 2 surgeries. And because of that, it has made him, be at a low profile without participating much in terms of provision of food basket for the home. So I took up the responsibility of a mother and a father to take care of my siblings.
My goodness.
Of course, there are a lot of things that happened between the time that I was in primary school to secondary school. Because at a tender age of around 11, 12, 13 years, somewhere there, I had already begun assisting in the provisions of food for the family. I remember cycling a bicycle from Chongwe to carry charcoal to Lusaka to go and sell. I remember at some point would look for goats around and then resell. I remember the time that we had the Gunras and then currently known Verino. now in Chongwe. By that time it was called Gundras. I remember very early in the morning, I would wake up in the morning, go and order chicken intestines, commonly known as matumbo, the pre-packs. And early in the morning, I would come home, and begin to sell. And I would move from door to door, selling, door to door. It was like evangelism.
Matumbo.
Selling matumbo, my pastor, door to door. Around 11 or so, I would pack whatever has remained, go to class in the afternoon. Then in the evenings around 17, come back home, pick up the remains, move again and finish up within the corridors of the school with the teachers around there. And that, was a time, of course. And then went to primary school, that was time, then went to secondary school. And then
So, partly, Mr. Salanda, you financed
Yes.
your own education.
Yeah, I did, with a few support from a few relatives. But on the upper hand, I did most of the contributions.
Through selling matumbo.
Through selling matumbo. Apart from that, actually, if you know Chongwe very well, we have farms like Kalamanzi, we have farms like Kapiriomba, we have farms like Karex, those that sell flowers for export. Okay? I used to work there. Actually, during holidays, I would leave Kafue because I was in Kafue during my secondary school. During holidays, I would come back home, work in the farms, get back to school until my education was done. After secondary school was over, went back home. Life as usual continued, And this time, things got more complicated because my younger ones were growing and they needed support. So we would share the responsibilities. Mom brings something, I bring something. So we would contribute and eat as a family. Yeah, and then the time that I went to school, in 2012, I was supposed to finish my diploma in 3 years. Yeah, but because of challenges, my young ones are supposed to go to school. So what I would do is, instead of going into full-time, I went into distance education. So during distance education, when I'm off school, I would work, doing pieceworks. I never chose what to do. I worked as a garden boy. Yeah, with my good grade 12 results. And Choston here. Yeah, I worked as a cleaner at Mandahill in 2011 when Mandahill was just opened after the refurbishing. Yeah, I worked there. I worked in Kanyama as a nightclub supervisor. I know many people don't know about that story because I've never shared it much. Yeah, I would walk from garden house. Garden compound. I would walk all the way going to Kanyama to go and work as a nightclub supervisor for about 6 to 7 months or so, trying to raise money here and there. Okay, and then from there, went back to Chongwe, volunteered a little bit with CIDAS as a clinical supporter, because at some point I did some counseling at Chainama. So I went there, worked, and then the little coins that I gathered in 2012, I sacrificed to go to school because it was a challenge for me to be supported. So a little money that I had, paid. I only had money to pay for the first semester. I never knew where money would come from for the rest of the semester until the third year. So because of that, it made me had challenges with school fees. But of course, even if I failed to finish my diploma in 3 years, I did it in 5 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay? During this time of schooling, I had my young ones, 4 of them, which are supposed to be supported going to school. Okay? And I would raise a little money, pay for my young sister, who was at Chongwe Secondary, and then she doesn't know this, by the way. I would pay for her, then go to school, and go and bargain with the school to allow me learn for free.
Oh, this is amazing.
So that is basically a brief background. Of course, if I was to be given time to write a book, there's too much that happened between life then and now.
So between the time, I've heard that it was quite a risky business.
It was.
The background was so shaky.
It was rough.
That you could not concentrate. A diploma which was supposed to take you for 3 years?
3 years. I did it in 5 years.
5 years.
From 2012, I graduated in 2016.
Because you had to take care
I had to take care of my young ones as well.
Have they completed?
The 3, they are all done. We have just remained with 1 who is now in grade 8.
And you've been educating them?
I've been taking them to school.
Now tell me something, because in politics there is free money. Didn't you think of becoming a councillor, dance here and there and stone some few people?
Life has taught me one thing. to work hard.
To work hard.
You know, the time I reported for school in grade 10, I remember vividly, I never had a shoe. Yeah. I had to get the shoe for my cousin to go to school. Then when I went to school, a colleague of mine that I met for the first time, by then I requested for a 20,000, which is currently 20 kwacha. And he gave me. So when coming from school, I passed through Zambia compound in Kafue, ZC, okay, and bought a shoe. And that shoe is a shoe that took me from grade 10 all the way until finishing. As I never finished the shoe, I had to give it to someone back home in Chongwe. So I'm quite a definition of poverty. I'm the object lesson of poverty. I know what it means to sleep on the floor. I know what it means to sleep one side on the blanket and then the other side you cover. I know what it means to go for days without food on the table. I know what it means to sleep in a home that is thatched, but because of the rains, during rainstone you have to stand on the corner until the rain is over. I know what that means. I know what it means to get maize that we are given for seed. I remember last time, 2001, 2002, somewhere there was that strike of hunger that came. I remember getting seed that we were supposed to plant, you know, and, you know, clean it, soak it in water, clean it, remove the chemicals, and boiled it to eat. I remember vividly that. So I understand what life has been from childhood. Okay, because my mother never had the privilege to go to school. Yeah, and as such, I remember when I was in grade 6, she gave up, by the way. She told me she's in Senga. So she told me in Senga, and then I remember very well, says, you know, mwana wangu, kwasu, iliye punzire. Palie vuto ili yonse ulochimo yonapo, kuti wewe usapunzire. Nenyoko nakangiwa. Vaskulu vivireke. That was in grade 6. And those words struck my mind that if mom has given up too early now, what happens for the future? So I think it's from that background that I began to push hard for my life and made sure that one day I would want to make my mother proud that there is power in education. And fortunately, when I just graduated, you know what happened on the day that after finishing school? I wrote a message to mom and dad. Finally, your son has completed. There is light.
That was
at the end.
The text.
Yes, around 17. After the results were stuck. That the results are out, and finally you'll be graduating this year in October. I wrote a message in celebration that you know, finally your son is done with education, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. Hoping that, you know, after school now life will change. Unfortunately, mom took her life, by the way, and that's how she died. You know, she was a phlegmatic woman. She kept things to herself, and I think it was eating her up, you know, until finally, you know, she left us. We hope to meet her in the by and by when Christ comes. Yeah, but no, I was fighting hard to make sure, because I knew dad at least, but mom was fighting for us. In an event, mom will not be there. What happens? And it's like I saw the future in the present. So I worked hard to push for the family. I worked hard to make sure that everything is in place, even from the tender age. Yeah.
How old are you?
Currently, I'm 29.
29?
Yes.
And at 29, you started taking care of yourself, I think somewhere
around 11 or so.
11?
Yeah.
You became responsible of
myself and my family.
My goodness.
Yeah. I can't recall the day that I would say there was an amount of money that came from mom and dad for my school. From secondary school until college. It was all alone, with one or two family members who would support me when I'm really struck. Yeah.
Now tell me, Mr. Saranda, this is amazing. And you know, National Matters is about unlocking some people's minds, because what you are sharing and the things that you went through, I identify myself with you. Because some of it you've been hearing in my preaching.
Yeah.
And that even the first suit I had, it was after I graduated from Bible College. In 1995, that was the first time I put in a suit in life. but through and through, I've always believed that Jehovah is good.
True he is.
And that he is a keeper of those who diligently seek him. However, the amazing part of your story is that even after all those hardships, you never wanted to work for Zesco, or you didn't want to work for Zamtel or the bank?
At some point, I desired to work for organizations, the government also. Yeah, but when I realized that I did agriculture, you know, I knew I have a skill. You know, education, personally, I believe education should transform the way you think. So it should transform your mind, transform your heart, and transform your hands. So when I was going through school, I was going through transformation. The mind was changing, the hands were changing, and my heart was changing. And in the process of change, I realized with the education that I've gotten from Zambia College of Agriculture, these are the skills that will eternally be in me and with me. So I said, well, in a time that, you know, support won't be there, at a time that employment won't be there, what should I do? I should use my skill. That is the belief that I had. So when I was at school, I was working hard. I was pushing in much. By the way, I was privileged to be one of the best students, beating both the distance and the full time. Yet I was under distance.
Really?
Yeah. And I received quite some award at school. So when I came back home, I said, well, for me, in as much as there are other opportunities we may want to look for me now, what I have is a skill. I got my diploma and packed it. Because the diploma does not help in terms of paper. What helps is the skill. And I did my attachments. The time I was doing attachments, I realized I need to do attachments with a company that will expose me, with an organization that will expose me. And I attached myself with Zambif. I think you know Dr. Kao Alwin, the owner of Zambif. Yeah, I was at Kind, where his home is in Zambia. That's where I was based. So during the attachments, I went through a white man's system of change of mind, of hard work, coupling it with my background. So it was a plus for me. My skill and my background gave me the potential to stand on my own. And of course, I don't forget God. He has always been there for me. Yeah.
So you you packed that diploma just
his home is packed
for evidence.
Yeah, that I've gone through education. I've gone through agriculture. It's packed.
Yes.
Yeah. Right now I'm studying. I'm improving myself. And one reason why I'm improving myself is just for the horizon of thinking. Not that I should go and look for employment. Because currently with what is happening around production, if everything is normal, of course now because of COVID there are challenges here and there, but when everything is normal, there is just too much life in what I'm doing now. And that is village chicken production.
We will come to that.
Yeah.
I want you to assist someone there. CamNet TV viewers are on my mind. They are on my heart. And by the special grace of God, this nation, I believe with all my heart that it has been misrepresented. Misrepresented by our leaders, by our parents, by everyone that could have given us the way to say this is the way. This is just my belief. I stand to be corrected, but it has been misrepresented in that I believe this is a very wealthy nation. We are more wealthier than Britain. That's what I think.
Yeah. Now, so, to agree with you, I agree with you 100%. 100% in the sense that Zambia is endowed with natural resources. Number one, we have the best river flows in the SADC region in terms of water. We know how God does things. When God was creating, He tells us that I've given you the water above and the water below. Okay? I've given you animals. I've given you vegetation. Go and replenish the world. Our duty is to come and make sure to utilize the resources that God has given us in our hands. So in an event that the water above has gone, as the cry has been now, the water above has gone, what should we do? The answer lies within the texts. God says there is water below. So who has stopped us from going to sink boreholes at our farms? The water above was gone. And even if we go for prayers, things will still remain changing until Christ may come. But we are forgetting one thing, that there's a resource where we are sitting. There's a resource where we are walking, and that is the water below. So if the rains have stopped, go on the water below. Sink a borehole. The tomato that failed during rain season, feed it during off season. Okay? The vegetable that couldn't grow during rain season, do it outside rain season. Let's go, for example, maize as an example. We are usually, we usually produce maize always in rain season. Okay? Because that's what we believe. Off season, we tell you, there is no water, the river has dried and everything has dried. But have you realized that there is too much money in maize when it's fresh than when it's dry? And that is the potential that Zambia has. 70% plus of Zambian vegetation is habitable and arable, both for animals and crop production. 70% of Zambian land is now unpopulated. It's in the bush. The problem we have is we're not ready to go and live in the bush.
That's the problem.
That's the problem that we have. We believe in the white collar job. We believe in the name. No, I'm the manager at so. You know, I'm the public relations at so. I am the officer at so. We take no pride in what we have in ourselves. By the way, I believe that entrepreneurs or individuals who are able to do things on themselves are the ones who can create employment, and our president should read the statistics.
Come on now. Repeat that statement. I like that.
What I'm saying, like Pastor, is it is the responsibility of us entrepreneurs, individuals, who should go into production. The president should read the statistics. How many youths have I engaged? How many youths have I employed directly and indirectly?
So you are saying that it is not necessary to go and protest in the bush.
The issue is, the question is, in as much you are going to protest in the bush, how many people today, in terms of numbers for the youths who are looking for employment, which is currently not there? It's not the problem of the president that employment is not there. The world has changed. We used to have librarians in schools. We no longer have them. Why? It's because the world has gone technology. Right now we have libraries on our phones. So a librarian is not needed anymore. Okay? We needed to tell us that time when to enter money and everything in the bank and whatnot. This time life has changed. They have brought in teller machines, which are doing the work for someone who's going to do banking and finance. Okay? I'm not saying it's not good to look for employment and cry. The issue is we need to understand that we have a role to play as individuals. There are certain things I need to do for myself, not the politicians. The reason is simple. The duty of the president and those who are in the office is to create an enabling environment for me to flourish, not to buy a blanket for me. So if I don't have a blanket at home, should I go and demonstrate that I need a blanket? Okay? And even then, there's always a way of resolving conflict, is to engage in dialogue. That's what I believe. If you have an issue, I believe State House is open. You can easily walk there. The cabinet is open. You can easily go there, discuss issues at mature level, okay? And then you talk so that everything can be resolved. Not to go and demonstrate in the bush. Yeah. If I have an issue with you, does it make wisdom for me to go in the bush and go and cry?
You know, Mr. Salanda, why I'm saying this, the mindset. There is something wrong with our mindset. When I say our mindset, I'm including myself as Zambians. This is why most of us work for the industry called lazy people's industry. Most of the Zambians are lazy.
True.
You talk about white-collar jobs, like you are saying. How many jobs can the president employ? I mean, how many people can the president
And the
employ?
numbers are added every year, every month, every quarter. People are graduating every year. People are born every year. Okay, the numbers are increasing every day. But remember that on the job market, it's the opposite. Jobs are not being created. Jobs are being reduced.
Yes.
So where a person was supposed to work, a machine is working. But here now a machine is working, a person is crying for the same position where the machine is working. How do you go there?
Competing with a machine.
You can't. You can't. So the issue is we need to begin to think outside the box. There's too much resource that God has given us up here. That's the first resource that we have. It's not the financial resource. It's the mind resource. How you utilize the mind matters. Every minute, every hour, every time that passes, even if you go for prayers, the time that is gone, you will never regain.
You will never recover it.
You go for prayers, pastor, you drink anointing water, you drink anointing oil, you are going to carry, you know, holy carpets, you carry holy kerchiefs, handkerchiefs and everything. That we will not bring back the time. You prophesy, pastor. Prophets will not bring back the time.
You go to America, you go to Japan.
Prophecies are there. But the issue is, will the prophecy redeem the time that has been wasted? The answer is literally no. So the question is, why can't we use time first? Go and complain with what we have used. I should go to the president. President, I have done A, B, C, D. I have failed here. Please help me. Now the challenge that we have is the opposite. We literally have nothing. Then we go and complain.
You know, Mr. Salanda, I'm so blessed, and the Camnet TV viewers and all the people that are out there watching this program. I can tell you over the past few weeks, the phone calls that we have received, it is too overwhelming. Because as I speak to you right now, there are people who are saying, Pastor, job is nothing.
Yeah, it is. It's nothing.
I had a professor, a doctor this afternoon. We were just chatting in my office there. And he said, you know, Pastor Chiluba, what you've been teaching, I've got this degree, this degree, this degree, this degree, but I agree with you. I have not resigned, but I've told them that, excuse me, I am going to do something better. Because this man, he was born for greatness. What he's doing and what he started doing, the potential has just been unlocked.
Yeah.
That, like you are saying, he is a very educated person, but he's leaving space for those who are crying for jobs. And guess where he's going? At the farm.
To where everyone is running away from.
Where everyone is running away from.
Yeah.
I have one of my qualified lawyers in this nation. For some reasons, he was transferred to one of the districts in the bush. He complained when going there. And he said, Lord, why should I come here? He looked at people, transferred him and what, from the tribal point of view, from this, he just felt, no, there was something wrong.
Yeah.
Today, Mr. Salanda, he has thanked the Lord for the people to have transferred him there. He's a notable lawyer in this nation.
That's the thing.
He lives in the village. He comes here to Lusaka.
Actually, right now, my
And
pastor.
he doesn't want to stay here.
Right now, I'm in Chongwe. That is home. Okay? And I'm envious looking for land. I'm moving out of Chongwe very soon. I'm going further into the bush. Because of what I want to do.
And because of what you have seen.
Because of what I have seen, what I want to do, what I have begun, can only be achieved when actually I go in the bush, not in town. Are you aware, Pastor, that the money that in a good number of the civil service that they are getting is basically just for food on the table?
Absolutely.
Because, for example, if you are a teacher, okay, which is one of the institutions where everyone is running to now, because they believe it is easily employable. Yeah, you easily have access to loans, which is the cry for everyone. They will easily have, security, as it is believed. But me, I don't believe in salary being a security. Security is created by yourself. Yeah. Because when you go and work, looking for employment, you go to the civil service and work, you'll be getting roughly between 4 and 7,000. Diploma to degree holder. You are renting a house 2,000 every month. You have 4 children that are supposed to take to school. The food basket right now, you are supposed to spend over 4,000 per month just for eating. You remain with only about 1,500. You have 5 children. How do you educate them? This is the reason why we have depression, we have BP, we have sugar. All prestigious diseases are around and surrounding the people who are salaried. Okay? When they retire at 65, the energy is gone. That's when they want to get a 350,000 pension after working for 35 years to go and build a house in Shangombo in the village, where they had refused the area when they were deployed because they wanted to be around the city. When they reach there, they only build the house until Lindo level, and God calls them to the grave. And we have a lot of such numbers that have happened. I mean, I come from the rural and I've seen what is happening. We have people who have retired in the rural. They live very few years and they are gone. The pension is gone, the house unfinished, leaves behind the children with no support.
And the grandchildren.
And life now has changed. It's more of a father, mother, and children. It's no longer extended as it used to be. No, I have an uncle this end, I have an uncle that end. No, it's no longer that way. So the issue is we need to change now. Change is not tomorrow, Pastor. Change is needed now. As I have said earlier, that Zambia has so much potential around the agri life. And that's the reason why, like Kenya, is a chief producer of flowers. Botswana across here is a chief producer of beef in Africa. The question is, what are we chief of producer in Zambia, in line of agric?
Kachepa.
There's nothing, apart from copper. And copper is non-renewable. We need to begin to invest in renewable resource, and that resource is the soil. That's all. That's the reason why when God was creating, he first gave Adam and Eve soil, plants, crops, and livestock. I know what it does? It tells them, multiply these animals, and everything is for sustenance. It's for sustenance. When everything is said and done, go and reproduce and multiply. Now, multiplication of human beings comes after the multiplication of animals. That's the science behind that. So even before you begin the project of reproduction of people, go in the reproduction of crop, reproduction of livestock. Because it is these livestock and crop that will come and care for the reproduction of human beings. It is not correct. It's very imprudent, my pastor, for me to marry and produce children. I don't have a chicken, I don't have a goat, I don't have any cow. It's imprudent. It is prudence for me to have chickens, to have crops, and to have cattle before I bring
the lady.
A lady. So that when children are born, they should find something to sustain them. And that's the reason why God says a prudent man leaves wealth for his children's children. It's for the 3rd generation, not you.
Not Kalowe.
So you as a pastor, whatever you are making now and preparing is for your grandchildren.
Absolutely.
The reason is simple. In an event your son dies after giving birth, who cares for the child? It's what you have invested as a grandfather. And that is the belief. So if this can be gotten into the mind of each and every Zambian, Zambia won't be the same. We need to envy and desire to work. We have been complaining of these Shonas and the Zulus coming from Zimbabwe to come and do tomato. They saw an opportunity that we can't see with our eyes. The question is, what is the problem? The problem is we love laissez-faire type of life. I have vowed in my life, I sleep when I'm tired. Because I believe that time is not determined by the clock. Time is determined by the body weakness. I mean, why should I go past and sleep when I'm not tired? It has to have the energy to go and work. I work at night. The times I break the night and I sleep during the day.
Repeat that statement. Repeat that
time
statement.
Is not determined by the clock. Time is determined by the body weakness. And this is where Chinese beat us. So the issue is we need to reach a level where we invest ourselves in the utilization of time. Go to sleep when you are tired. But the problem, we force ourselves to go and to sleep. That's why you go on the bed, you get a phone, you go on Facebook and WhatsApp, and you are reading things that will not add value to your life. It would have even been better if you would have been reading books than just going to flip through the pages of media and see what photo has come and what video has come, what is trending on the social
and
media.
The politics.
And reading politics and you know, it's time we begin to work now. Because time is passing us by. We're not passing time when you go and play. It is time that is passing us by. Okay? So it's high time, Pastor, that we re-engage as Zambians. Young people, I know we have young people out there who are listening, who are younger than me and others even older than me. But the issue is, let's go back to work. Complaining and murmuring is despondence and is sin against God. The Bible puts it very clear. Murmuring and complaining is sin against God.
And this is the more reason why people were killed in the wilderness.
That's it.
Because of murmuring.
Actually, the journey for children of Israel would have taken 7 days.
3 days.
3 days.
Across that.
Across the.
But it took them,
40 years. Do you know the reason? Murmuring and despondence. There was too much argument over nothing. They didn't want to participate in what God told them to do as they were going. So with us now, that we have a time like this platform that you have created, Pastor, which is, I'm so thankful actually, by the way, that you would create such a platform that would come and speak issues that can change Zambia, issues that can change youths. As we move from school, we should have a mind of work, not a mind of walking in the corridors of Lusaka looking for employment. People are moving from the village, coming to look for employment here, leaving land there, leaving water there, leaving everything out there to come and look for a 2,000 kwacha per month in a rented house. And everything in Lusaka you buy, even your own urine to go and dispose, you have to pay.
I'm telling you.
Your own urine, you have to pay for it. That's how tough life is in Lusaka. Okay? I produce my own maize. I'm at the farm.
At 29.
Yeah. To feed myself. Remember, I have 2 families now. I have myself and my family at the farm. Because Dad is still with my young ones.
Are you married?
I married just last year. Very wonderful wife.
And you are taking care of her?
Beautiful.
And taking care of your father?
Absolutely.
In that condition?
In that condition. So I have 2 families. And now because I've married, I have 3.
Now, you see, Mr. Salanda, look at how blessed. I always say to people that one of the blessings God can ever give a person are ideas.
Yeah.
Because one idea can transform a nation.
True.
One idea can change lives. And there you are. At 29, you've never worked.
No.
But you are taking care of your father and your siblings. From 11 years, you become responsible. And when I see the youths running for politics, running for this, even campaigning and not sleeping.
Get injured, others die.
I'm telling you. And let me say what I say, Mr. Salanda. These youths don't actually know that they are creating a job for somebody.
Yeah.
Because when you say, let's make this one president, let's make him member of parliament, you are employing them. They are not going to take care of you. They are not going to come and say, Mr. Salanda, your ear was chiseled, so have a farm here. And I believe, I have nothing against politics. We need politics. We need people to rule us. We need people to provide policy.
But there's a right way of supporting the candidates that we need.
Absolutely. Now, here is the duty of the Zambians. What we are failing to see is that no politician, no political party can solve the problems. I said this statement probably before you were born, Mr. Salanda, 1991.
Okay.
Just before MMD came into power. I issued that statement that there is no intelligent president. There is no any person who can change Zambia without God.
True.
Even if somebody has got 15 degrees, it's a lie, Mr. Salanda. We should stop lying to the people. education cannot, yes, it can improve things, but it cannot change.
God puts people in leadership, actually.
Absolutely. And look at Dr. Kaunda. We called him a Form 2, but look at the heart he had to feed all of us, to take us to school. And what he did was massive. And I always say that one of the best cabinet I've ever seen is President Chiluba's cabinet. That cabinet had educated people. Just like Donald Trump, there's never been a cabinet in America like the one Donald Trump
has now.
Because there are so many billionaires in there.
True.
Who are running the affairs. But why did we get rid of MMD? With all the education. Why did we get rid of the MMD? Why did we get rid of this? And so people don't learn from history that it's not the party. It is our minds. And you know, I always say that poverty is in the mind.
It is.
And Jim Ford, the maker of Ford cars, he said a person who thinks he can make it and a person who thinks he can't make it, they are both right.
Yes. Yes. It's basically the mind. What you have said is very true. That's why they say when the mind has been endowed with a new idea, it does not regain its original dimension. So if you put the positive attitude into your mind, you are growing. Actually, there's nothing that grows the neurons than reading. So if you read wrong stuff, you believe in the wrong stuff, you'll be biased towards the wrong things. If you read the right stuff, you do the right thing, you'll be biased towards the right direction. So the issue here that we have is we need to begin to do a total overhaul of the mind. There is more of the colonial mind in the Zambians than the postmodern.
Yeah?
Yeah. So we are colonized. And that's the reason why we still complain of our education system, because the education system that we have is the colonial, where they produced people who can go and memorize Proconsul, memorize Kenyapithecus, memorize Zinjanthropus. Okay? But he cannot use the same mind to go and plant a seed. So you go to school and sit the whole term memorizing Proconsul africanus, the origin. Okay? Shaka moving on foot, walking on the core and everything. Okay? So it's an issue of the education system that we need to begin to revise also. That will bring more change to the ones that are coming from behind. The way I have been exposed to the little literature around, I should use this opportunity to entice and engage others to come on board. Now there's one that I believe myself, my pastor. I should not wait to be successful to bring others on board.
Say that again. You know, some statements, they just pick my heart.
What I'm saying, pastor, is I should not wait until I am successful to help another be successful. That's a very wrong conception of things. When I've realized this is wrong, I should move with everyone else immediately. You know what will happen? We'll be developing at the same level.
Can I stop you? You've just blessed my heart. You know, when my wife and I were exposed to this idea, when we were invited to be millionaires, they said, Pastor, just get a farm. We'll turn you a millionaire in the next 4 years. And everything was explained to me. I said, look, why can't I expose this idea to Zambia? Because you see, now I'm getting 60. 14th of October, I'll be 60.
You see?
So what is it that I want to see or enjoy, which I haven't enjoyed in all these years? But here's the deal. When I heard everything, and these people saying, Pastor Chiluba, within 4 years, you have $4 to $5 million in the account. Get 100 hectares of land, just 100 hectares of land, and they put the figures. And these are qualified people, educated people who have seen it all. And I said, listen, before I gauge myself, because in Africa, once you do well, Mr. Salanda, it's vakulo.
It's common.
You go to the grave early for just being successful.
It's common.
So when we took that, my wife and I came back and we brought it on Camnet, National Matters. We went to His Excellency, the President, about 4 weeks ago. How delighted he was to just know that we have what it takes to help him bring the people to where they are.
That's the thing that I'm talking about.
So that statement.
Imagine now you are going to create employment, and you read the statistics. That's what I'm talking about. So I should not wait until I'm very successful, people begins to respect me, bow down and everything when I'm there. No, time is now. We move with new ideas. We move with everyone together. I believe in one thing. There is no one who has ever developed in isolation.
Absolutely.
There's no one.
Absolutely.
So I should not wait, Pastor, for me to be 40. Okay, invest, then become 40. Then now that's when I will look back. 20 years past to pick the one that I left, because others would have gone. What should I do then? Now that I find an opportunity, I should pick up the broken pieces together with everyone else who is willing to come on board and move forward. That's development. And development can only come when we decide to work together. You know, it is very common amongst Zambians and Africans at large to celebrate when someone has fallen.
I'm telling you.
It's very common.
I'm telling you.
Because we believe in I did this, I did that. If it was not me, this would not have been there. If it wasn't me, this would not have been there. That is not the way. The way is, if it were not us,
absolutely,
things wouldn't have been this far.
Absolutely.
Okay? So I believe that we need to engage each other now with everyone who is available and willing to transform and change this nation. That's what I believe. And that's the reason why I have been moving around doing the crusade of going to production. In Village Chicken, for example. We move around, making sure that everyone is engaged now, not tomorrow. Okay, in an event I don't reach 40, I should have an impact at 29. I should have an impact at 2030, at 40, at 31, at 35, at whatever level I am at. I should have an impact on my peers and those older and the younger. Okay? So that those who are coming from behind should not make the same mistake that I've made in my life. They should learn from the mistakes that I've done.
Oh, Jehovah.
That is what we need. We need to begin to work together. We need to begin to come together. Are you aware that it's very unlikely and very uncommon that a person who has ideas would work together with someone who has money? It's very uncommon. Usually the people who have ideas have no money, and the people who have money have no ideas. And the two don't agree to come and work together.
Keep on repeating those statements. Zambia needs to hear that.
You see, my pastor? So we need people who have ideas, who don't have money. Bring money. You who has money and me who has ideas, we come together. You know what will happen? We will have the ideas and the money work in collaboro. So by the end of the day, your money will affect me. My ideas will affect you. Absolutely. And whatever will affect you will affect anyone who is your neighbor. Whatever will affect me will affect any person next to me. That's what we believe.
That I would call it offhand. If I'm to preach,
yes,
I would call it the Laban-Jacob concept.
As a minister of the gospel.
Jacob has a concept. Yeah. He has these blessings, but he has no money. He joins Laban.
That's it.
And Laban has money. And they both
grow together. Oh. That's the mind that we need in Zambia. So we have a lot of this type of mind. And I wish if this type of mind can trickle down to policymakers, trickle down to parliamentarians, trickle down to the cabinet, and finally to His Excellency, when we can come up together without isolating anyone, without choosing who belongs where, who does what. No. The issue is we need everyone from everywhere who has both the mindset and also the money. The money. Because there are people who are not privileged to have money. So what will happen if they don't have a privilege of money? It means they will die with their ideas because they have nowhere to start from. And then those who have money, what do they do with the money? It's just for themselves. So immediately when we change this type of thinking and begin to think for each other, that we are each other's keeper at every level of life, then Zambia will change. Because look, Pastor, I have an idea, for example. I want to go to the bush to go and buy 250 hectares of land. I don't have money to go and put up an infrastructure there, but I have the mind. I have the brain. I have the ideas. When you go to someone who has money, they will tell you, do you think this can work with this biting economy? Maybe we give it some time. I know as we are giving it some time, time is passing by. So it will always be in the pipeline. No, it's in the pipeline, but the pipeline never delivers on the other end. So for 30 years, it's still in the pipeline. So we need an idea married together with the finance. We need the intelligence with the financial resource. Zambia has the potential to make it big. The problem is we are not willing to work together. We have many youths who are skilled out there. But I've not heard many of the youths coming together and work together for one solution. By the way, I'm a chair in Chongo of a youth cooperative. Yeah, I formed a cooperative some 2 years ago or so. Because I believe that together with my fellow youths in Chongwe, we can bring the change we have ever desired. So in as much as I'm doing my personal things at personal level, I'm engaging others so that we are able to move together and change this country. Change is only with and by us. We should not wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow will never come.
Now, tell me something. Do you think, this is my concern, and when I ask this, I'm asking because I'm very passionate about this nation, and I'm a very proud Zambian. I am one person who will never post anything on social media that Zambia is poor. I can never. I'm one person who will never cry out to the outside world and say, come and help us. That is poverty of the mind I'm talking about. And I want you to know that there are a lot of educated people whose minds are bankrupt when it comes to ideas. They have no ideas. I like what somebody said, that education will make you know things, but the talent and the skill will propel you to achieve the things that you want.
That's why you have to blend the two.
You will blend the two. Now, do you think when we come together as Zambians, we can take over the debt of the nation from your money, my money, and the government is taxing all of us? Do you think we can pay the loan that we owe?
Why not? Why not if we become productive? The issue is productivity. If everyone can be engaged. Are you aware that 70 years ago, when China began to change, to revolutionize itself, they engaged everyone. And because of the engagement of everyone, China is where it is today. The problem that we have is we want to work in isolation. Okay? And because we want to work in isolation, these debts will always be recurring. So the next government will come and pay off what had remained. After finishing off, you know what debt does? It's biblical. It's biblical. The issue is if immediately you tie yourself with debt, you always be a beggar.
The Bible says a borrower is the lender.
To the lender.
And the Bible goes on to say, whosoever the Son of God shall set free, he shall be free indeed. So, like you are saying, we need to be set free.
We need to engage each other and everyone else. You know what? We have people who are very rich in this country. We have individuals who are rich in this country. And if you are to engage all of us to move together, I don't think there's any problem with that. Because taxing individuals is more of a burden. For example, I'm a startup. I'm just beginning my business, okay, as a young person. And I'm heavily taxed from the little that I'm gaining. It becomes a problem. How do I flourish if I'm heavily taxed with the little that I need? Because the little that I need, I'm supposed to gain. I'm supposed to increase the wealth around so that others can benefit.
Because if mom and dad, may her soul rest in peace, if your father and mother were rich, you could have gone to university.
That's it.
You could have ended up at Harvard.
Yeah.
But because there were no financial resources, you ended up carrying the load of this. And this is what exactly the government is doing.
And this may take longer for my personal and household development. Because the responsibilities are many. So the little that you find, you need to care first for the rest before you reinvest. So it is with debt. Whenever anything comes, you think of what you are owing. Because tomorrow may be disgraced. So you have to pay first, remain with the little. So I only on the survival mode. And this is where we don't want to remain as Zambians.
So you are just servicing the Eurobond.
We are basically on survival mode.
Eurobond and all these in Congolese.
And if we are going not to go into production, the survival mode will continue. But they will have sectors in this country that can turn this country upside down. And this is the agriculture sector.
Dear Camnet TV viewers, I want you to know that we have a lot to offload in here, especially my brother, Mr. Salanda. I want you to know that you were born for greatness. Don't underestimate yourself. Those of you crying for jobs, always at rallies, clapping for things which do not make sense at all, stop it in Jesus' name. Pick up the hoe, pick up something, go and do something. You know, Mr. Salanda.
Yes, Pastor.
I want my director to show us a clip and show the people a clip. I followed up. When I received this, I went back into internet. I discovered this girl started with village chickens and eggs in China. I'm not talking about Kacholola or Eastern where you come from. In China. And this is why I say poverty is in the mind.
True.
And nobody will move me from my belief.
It's not a belief only. It's a reality. Poverty is in the mind. Why is it in the mind? It's because everything that you do originates in the mind.
Oh, Jehovah.
All the actions that we do originates from the mind. Whatever you believe emanates from the mind. Okay? Then from there you go into actions. We are not poor. God says you will be the head and not the tail. If you do my statutes. And one of the statutes that God gave us is 6 days. Man shall labor and do all his work. Not nobody works. Your work. So if you go to church,
day, worship.
Whether you go to church on Saturday, whether you go to church on Sunday, 6 days you should labor. It is a sin, my pastor, to go and lift up holy hands on Saturday and Sunday with the 6 days of doing nothing.
You are blessing.
Do you know the reason? Because work is part of worship.
That's right.
I mean, when you go to church, you're going to thank God for what you have done in the week. If you don't work, this is the reason why you have more prayers of God give me on a Sunday and Saturdays before the altar. The reason is simple. It's because people have not been working. So now they believe that when they go and pray and call on different papas and everything and prophecies given to them, then miracles overnight will happen. It will never happen. God says, we will bless the work of your hand. As simple as that. So it's not the work of your mouth. It's the work of your hand. We need to begin to engage with our hands. 6 days man shall labor. And from the fruit of the soil you shall eat bread. Bread does not come from the temple. Does not come from the altar. Does not come from the man of God.
And it's not manna.
No, it comes from God. When you do the right thing, you will be the head and not the tail.
Oh, Jehovah.
Now, you know, I usually tell people with this description, have you ever wondered why God used the figurative approach to use the tail? Look at where the tail is. The location of the tail. And what happens around the tail. My pastor. You know? Actually, what happens is when the head has eaten, the
Yes.
tail receives the West.
I'm telling you.
So when the people who have used their time out there, the Europeans, the whites, and whoever we may mention has used their time very well. Look at the Chinese.
Yeah.
They use their time to the maximum. You know what will happen?
Yeah.
The West comes to me, who is at the tail. Have you ever wondered why
Yeah.
when you cut the tail of a dog gets fat? The reason is simple. There are a lot of parasites at the tail. So when you cut it, you would have gotten rid of a population of parasites. So the meaning here is actually God is saying, do not be a parasite.
Yeah.
Be the worker at the head. Because workers are found at the head. At the tail, you only find the parasites. So don't be a parasite. So if me as a Zambian will remain a parasite here, no good things will happen.
Cabinet TV, forgive me, you've made me laugh, you know.
No, it is well.
I should have taken time to laugh
Yeah.
about the location of the tail.
Yeah, there are issues there. It's for another day. It's for another day.
Team Cabinet, I want you to watch and see this girl who became a millionaire just bringing village chickens
Okay.
and from eggs and everything. She goes to the top in China. Mr. Director, give us that clip of the lady in China who was sweating to get her juice. This is in China. No tractor, no nothing, no one.
Just eggs.
Mr. Director, give us that. Mr. Salanda,
Well,
have you seen that?
that's an inspiration.
That is in China.
And that is my cry.
At 21 years, she quits her job and goes back to the village. Look at that.
The question that comes is how many people has she employed?
Can you
That's a
imagine?
lot of numbers. 7,000 chickens, 3,000 eggs per day. Okay? It means you have to be picking throughout,
Every day.
every day. That's what we need. And that can be done. Because personally, I've tested that with a village chicken. It's a life spinner. Actually, from the time that mom died, as I mentioned earlier, the village production is what has changed my life. I am what I am now because of the village chicken.
Now let's get into it, Mr. Salanda. How did you begin the village chicken? Tell somebody there, because you see, Dr. Kachaka came here, he talked about fish farming. Engineer Chuala came here, talked about avocados. All these ideas, somebody out there, Tim Camnet, should be burning and say, I'm going. You know, it takes a decision.
That's it. Now, to our viewers out there, the journey began like a joke. As I've earlier mentioned that I come from an agricultural background, you know. During the time I was doing my agric, I did my attachment. I used to work with the Minister of Agriculture. I volunteered actually at the DACO's office. Okay? Because I spent 4 months or so off class. So I would volunteer to work with the office, just to be exposed to agriculture. I have so much passion with agric. You know, it's something that is in me. You know, I do it passionately. Yeah, so I would work, go in the field in Chongwe briefly, and then I went to Rufunsa. Rufunsa just formed into a district. I worked with the DACO, and then there, Dr. Njovu. I would go, organize farmers, train them for free in village chickens. Okay? Because I saw a niche that there is money in this business. So I would go and train, you know, until I realized that we have a lot of cooperatives in Chongwe and Rufunsa. But these are cooperatives that are for FISIP. They will only be very active when FISIP is around the corner, around this period now. You see them trotting, running up and down, you know, paying money for their packs and everything. Immediately FISIP is gone in March. There is no activity all the way from March until somewhere in October again. And I said, well, but these people, I think there is potential in this industry. And they're already a community. Remember, I've already mentioned that I believe in moving together as a team, as a community. So that the best now is to engage these cooperatives and go into production. So I said, I'll be training village chicken. So I started training them in village chicken. We have trained, I think, over 140 cooperatives in Rufunsa and Chongwe, both in chicken production and also value addition. That is smoking, just using a drum. Okay? And people are doing business. We've been to Chipata, we did the same.
And they are making money.
Making money. We've been to Lusaka, we've done the same. We've been to the Southern Province, we've done the same. I've been to Copper Belt, Kitwe, Chingola, Ndola. I've been to Northwestern Province in Solwezi, just trying to bring, you know, Zambians across the board together to work. Okay? So as I was working with the people in Rufunsa, I realized there's so much potential in this industry. So one farmer gave me 3 chickens. When I went to work, you are doing very well, my son. Have these chickens. And those chickens were 2 females and 1 cock, which I took to the farm where dad is. Okay? Then they started giving out, you know, eggs, keeping and then multiplying. Then I realized that there is money. And moreover, it won't be prudent for me to be teaching farmers about village chickens, yet I don't have any. So what should I do? Let me multiply my numbers. So I started working with the 3 eggs, you know, multiplying them. Then got the eggs. So this time now I changed the system. When I go for work, you know, where I was volunteering, I would do, instead of making them pay money, they would pay in form of eggs. So I'll get 5 eggs. When I come to a household, I pick 1, 2 eggs. Go to other household. So if there are 15 farmers here, I'll have about 30 eggs or so. I pick, I take to the incubator. Okay, for fast multiplication. By the time it was 9 months in production and also training, I had over 1,000 village chickens. In Chongwe here. Okay? That was in 2016. Just after school. Because remember, during the time of school, I would do multiply, add, just like that. And then by the time it was 2016, I had that number of chickens. So there's so much potential in this. And to make matters worse, there was no single day when I carried my chickens to go on the roadside and lift and start calling for customers to come and buy. People were calling. People were coming as far as Kasumbalesa to come and pick chickens.
Really?
Spartak, yes, to come and pick chickens. Okay? Then this is the industry that I will go in big time. So by the time it was 1 year and a half or so, it was going 2017, 2018, I had over 1,500 chickens. Go to the wire, and the time that I started, to just in a tree.
They were just...
Yeah, just going in the tree. They sleep in the morning, they go play around, lay eggs here and there. Then I go take a small wire, and just like that, started developing slowly. Okay? Because the space at the farm where Daddy is quite like a very small space. Until later on, I met a colleague, a friend who has some place in Chongwe, who now we collaborated. Said, let's work together. Then, since you have land, I bring the chickens here. Okay, instead of renting it out, you also want to keep chickens. So as I bring my chickens here, you also bring your numbers. So that as we work together, you'll be learning the skill of producing the chickens. And by the way, these chickens I'm talking about, they're village chickens, and I grow them naturally.
Really?
Yeah. Remember in Eden, we never had Gumboro. We never had Newcastle. We never had coccidiosis. We never had the amplorium. We never had oxytetracycline. We never had these. Animals were growing. Chickens were growing. How did Adam and Eve grow them? And with an expert I am from the background of agroforestry, for sustainable agriculture is basically agroforestry, we learn how we can incorporate plant species, crop species, making them into feed, give the chickens. So chickens should eat these plants as feed, and this feed should be medicinal. Because each and every plant has got what we call phytochemicals. These phytochemicals, they fight against diseases. Yeah. So there are many species, like Mzungula tree, which is called Kigali africana, can be used. Aloe vera, you know, we have Combrentum mole, I don't know the Zambian names, you know. A lot of these trees. So I got these trees, started incorporating them. And the issues of Newcastle is a story of the past. The issue of diarrhea, I can control diarrhea using pumpkin seed. I can control diarrhea using worms in the chicken using garlic, turmeric, pawpaw seed, chili, all these things that we have. So you find that even at the time you are producing, there's a lot of reduction in terms of cost. Okay? At the same time, also in terms of feed, I was supplementing my feed. I would get manure. The same manure is transformed into food. How? You get the manure, soak it a little bit, and then when you do the mixing, you make maggots. Maggots is a feed supplement for chicken, for protein. So I don't need to go and look for protein, because I already have protein at home. Then they just go and pick here and there. That's how I started with the village chicken. And that is a business that has seen me transition life and looking the way I am now. And managed to marry. And have a wonderful wife.
Have you got a car?
No.
You haven't got?
No.
But you are buying?
Very soon. She's 2 years old in this business.
2 years old?
In this business.
And
but the money that has passed through the hands from this business, I don't think there's any other business I can engage into.
Really?
No. Actually, village chicken is more profitable than fish.
Really?
No. Reason is simple. Chicken gives you eggs every day. And they'll never rest for the next 1 year and a half. Of course, there will be just a little interval here and there. In the starting point, you may think there's no profit. But in the long run, as you are producing, you will see that you're going to realize a lot of profit. Imagine you have 50 chickens. Average per year, one chicken gives about 80 eggs. And these 80 eggs, multiply them by 50. On average. That is per year. Okay? Then you sell each egg at 5 kwacha. That's the current market price of an egg. 5 kwacha. Even a 3 kwacha. So it's about 150 kwacha per tray. So if you are picking a tray per day, you are picking 150 kwacha per day. How much is a civil servant working for per day? It's around the same amount. But the difference is simple. The chickens will continue giving you the money. Okay? Now, as you are producing these chickens, you realize that there's a time when they have to rest. Okay? For about 10 days. That's the only time that they rest. So with me, instead of making them rest, I give them the natural remedies that will make them maintain and continue lay the eggs. Yeah, so you give them these plant species like mzumbula, which will increase the fecundity levels in the chickens. And the chickens will continue laying. Because the chicken can lay an egg every day. As long as it does not sit on the eggs. So you get the egg, it continues laying. You get the eggs, take to the incubator, you bring the chicks, you continue growing. So it's more profitable actually when you go and sell eggs and the chicks. I know what is challenging about this industry. When you go to Food Lovers, you don't find any village chicken egg. Go to a supermarket, ShopRite, you don't find a village chicken egg. Go to Choppies, you don't find a village chicken egg. Even the village chicken itself is scarcely found on the market. The demand is too high.
And that is the most healthy.
That's the most healthy because it can naturally be grown. And that's what we are promoting. For good health, you need to eat healthy foods. And chicken, village chicken is one of the most healthy food.
You know, Mr. Salanda, let me say to Camnet TV viewers, please, those of you that are watching, on the 25th of this month, September, and the 26th, 2 days, you have all these speakers. We are at Government Complex. Mr. Salanda will be there speaking, Engineer Chwala. Just imagine the knowledge that they are offloading and will be interacting, and they will be able to speak to you. You are getting something just for registration and lunch. 500 kwacha, child of the Most High God. Even if you are poor in your mind, you can get that. Mr. Director, please give me the number where people can now send their 500. Most of the people, we are coming here even yesterday on Sunday.
I see.
We want to buy, we are coming for this. And remember, there is COVID. Because there is COVID, we cannot pack the whole to 1,200. We have a small number of the people that were born for greatness. If you are husband and wife, please come together. We will be in the Government Complex from 8 hours to 16 hours. Those of you who will attend on Friday, you can't attend on Saturday. So you pick a day. We would like to accommodate as many because there is no space. For the knowledge that Mr. Salanda and all these people are offloading, and some speakers you haven't seen, you see them, I want you to know that even if it meant that I pay 5,000, I can come to your conference. Because already what you have just shared here, when Dr. Kachaka shared about the fish, you know, we have sighted a place with my wife where to make 2 big fish ponds. Of course. And now you are talking about the chickens. Tomorrow morning I won't be here. I'm going to look for some land.
Please do.
Where I can just put.
Otherwise, village chicken will change your life. Now, I don't speak from who says or he says. I speak from one I'm practically doing. Now, as I earlier have told you, right now we have trained over 2,000 farmers across Zambia in village chicken production. And
but why is it scarce with all those people? Or, with all
the
those
issue
numbers?
the issue that is there is people have been taking this business as a hobby. Now we are changing the mind. We want them to take it as a business. Now the most challenging part of this business is on marketing. So people may grow the chickens, but the market is a problem. And right now we have been making arrangements with ZDA. We want to create a good, proper market system for chain stores and everywhere else where we can in the country to make sure that when people have these chickens are able to supply freely without having challenges. And that's the reason why our company, where I belong to, which we started, has to do with market linkages. So we are doing what we call aggregation. So we work between the farmer and the buyer. Because we have seen farmers cannot move from the village to come and supply chickens at ShopRite because the conditions are too tense. You have to be registered with the ZPPA. You have to be registered with the council. You have to go through public health. You have to go through the vet. There are a lot of paperwork to be done. The phytosanitary, in terms of the abattoir, it has to be clean and good for you to sell your slaughtered chickens. So what we have done is we know what is needed to do all these things.
You know that in Congo DRC, Mr. Salanda,
yes,
a village chicken is very expensive.
It is.
I went to speak there. They don't have villages, chickens at Lubumbashi.
You are right.
To find a chicken, it's going to about $25, $30.
You are very
one
right.
chicken.
You are very right.
Meaning, if I have that, like you are saying, the market, even in Mozambique here, village chickens is what they like.
That's it.
The market, if only our government can loosen up, and relax.
This is exactly what I was coming to.
Yeah.
So now, as we are trying to go and engage this organization or these offices, if an opportunity could be created that one day I can walk through to State House and have a word one-on-one with the president, we need a proper market strategy. That's what all our farmers in Zambia need. That's all what our farmers need. We are able to supply chicken from January to December in Zambia. And from there, we can now export the rest to Mozambique and the other across in Congo.
Malawi,
so what we need,
Botswana. What
we need now is the president and the team and the Minister of Agriculture or Livestock to create an enabling environment for market. So that as we go to these offices and bring the farmers, right now we are starting a scheme for farmers. Okay? In a month time or so, we'll be giving out chickens to our farmers. So we have registered about 100. We have deliberately restricted the numbers because we want to prove to the government that we have the ability to give you the numbers that you need every week of chickens.
Oh, Jehovah.
Okay? Then when we satisfy our market, then we can go across. Because it won't be prudent that our market is not yet reached and then we go upstairs. No. Okay? Right now, we should reach a level where South Africa should not be bringing chickens here. We should reach a level where Choppies should not bring village chickens here because we have enough village chickens.
And the policy must be enacted.
The policy should be enacted, okay, to make sure that us as Zambians, we should be able to supply to all the chain stores. And I'm speaking that we have the capacity to give ShopRite the numbers of chickens they need. We have the capacity that Choppies need. Just from the 2,000 farmers that we have trained, these farmers can give over 2,000 chickens per week if we engage them.
Why are you leaving me? You're just talking about the 2,000.
You'll be part of, very soon we are coming.
During this conference, my wife and I are coming with notes.
Yeah, actually what has been happening is we have been advocating for this school program Dr. Kalumba is implementing for every school a production unit. You have been behind the camera, of course. There is more on the fish. But wherever Dr. Kalumba has been with Dr. Kachaka, I've always been there. Okay? To tell schools to be able to go in village chicken. Because in terms of money that is needed to start is smaller. So those like rural schools, they are able to go in. Okay? Meanwhile, we are working tirelessly as an entity. So that we are able to find the market. So that we are able to supply this.
You know, the schools have just delayed actually. I heard about this scheme. It was implemented by Henry Tukombe, the former PS.
Yes.
He began this project.
Yeah.
And when he began, people did not understand it. Being his pastor, he called me and said, Pastor, we don't need the government to be giving us money. I'm starting this.
That's it.
The schools have delayed. If they had implemented at the time Henry Tukombe began, they would not be asking for money today.
But actually, we can create shelves for schools alone to provide in Choppies and chain stores. The question is, why don't they have our chickens? Why shouldn't they have our eggs when the eggs are there? So my advocacy is to make sure that the government should put in a system that we should engage. I'm telling you, as I've assured you, that we are able to give Zambia the chickens they need as farmers. We are farmers in the Copper Belt. If today I was to say, tomorrow, let's supply 500 chickens, it's just a phone call away. And those chickens will be floating, coming. The question, where do we take them to? The market is not available. Okay? So we need an enabling system. When it comes to Congo also, the Ministry of Commerce, that's how they come in. They should put up a leeway trade system between Zambia and Congo. You know Zambia, at Congo, people know it from the Kasumbalesa end. Yet Congo is too big.
I'm telling
and
you.
And the Kasumbalesa, they are getting a chicken at 120 kwacha, as I'm speaking now.
I know.
Okay? Now imagine now we go deeper into Mombasa and the rest of the part of Congo. They depend actually, the meat end, they depend on Zambian side. That's why they come to Kasumbalesa and pick the animals and take them in. Yet we have the ability to do it.
I have this clip for Dr. George. Mr. Director, show that clip of how disunited we are. You know, I get this thing, I get ministered to, that if you and I don't join our forces, we become fragmented. We won't do anything.
True.
And you are speaking to the black Americans. Why black Americans are not making it?
That's the reason why
God
in the Bible, in the book of Proverbs, it says, go to the ant. Chapter 6. Go to the ant and ask them how they harvest, put food together in the winter.
And yet they have no king.
Yet they have no king. Now, why is God telling a human being, made in the akim of God, with the mind of God, with the image and the likeness of God, to be compared, blood running through, to an animal that uses the lymphatic system? In short, we are not yet wise, we are not yet thinking, we are not using what we have. And he completes by saying, a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of hands, shall poverty come to
like
you
an army,
like a robber.
Mr. Director, give us that clip. You know, thank God for Camnet TV viewers. I'm telling you, Mr. Salanda, the mindset is changed. We receive phone calls. Dr. Kachaka was just telling me, from the time I brought him here, the phone has not stopped ringing. He has visited the farms, and what each one of us as Zambians, when we come together like this, as you are saying, we will scale up this. We will take it to another level. All we need is unity, not saying, Pastor Chulu and I, you know, my wife, you and your wife. We need to network.
True. And that is key. In every business, you need networking. And that's the reason, and that is the only key that will bring success to every business. Once you are disunited, once you are at loggerheads, you will never go anywhere.
You know what I've learned from the Jewish people?
It's networking.
The Jewish people and Indians. An Indian cannot sell you a house before asking all the Asian community people.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Even here, you see Madras, the way they've taken it over. You see how they are taking up places like that where Nissan is. What's that compound there?
Nissan.
Emmausdale Police, now this side.
Yes.
That place is all gone by the Asians. Every place.
Have you found an Asian in ShopRite?
Oh.
A Chinese in ShopRite? Look at the queues of Zambians. We get pride to go and move a trolley of grass called Chihuahua. That we can grow at the backyard. And you'll be very happy. You stock the whole trolley. With Kalembla, Chihuahua, Chinese, lettuce and everything. And where is the money going? South Africa.
Absolutely.
And tomorrow we'll be complaining of poverty here, poverty there. But you are contributing actually to the level of increase of poverty.
And that the economy of Zambia is going down.
Shrinking.
Not knowing after they get this money, it's being lost in South Africa, in China.
They invest and bring back the food stuff to us.
Mr. Director, give us that. This is a shame, and may God deliver Zambia. We are going to make it. Give us that clip, Mr. Director.
This chart to me represents beautiful, educated, moneyed black people all over America. It could represent black organizations, it could represent black churches, it could represent black social and civic organizations. And what you will notice about these beautiful black people all over America is that everybody is doing their own thing, caught up in a Eurocentric value of rugged individualism, having forgotten that it takes a village to raise a child. There is no power here, brothers and sisters. There is no power here. Power is most effective concentrated. You can take a 55-gallon drum of water, spill it over, it will disperse, find its own level, and eventually evaporate. You can take that same 55-gallon drum of water, put it under pressure, put a lid on it, put a hose in it, put a nozzle on the end of that hose, and it can cut concrete. There is no power with us being disconnected. See, there's nothing wrong with dispersion. I live in Cleveland, you live in Atlanta. We have folk in the Caribbean, we have folk in Africa. That's dispersion. That's okay, but we do not have to be disconnected. We are a disconnected people. We are powerless in disconnection. This is where all the power is. You see? This is where all the power is. Whether you are at the center of your own network or a part of someone else's network, this is where the power is. There's a beautiful African proverb that says, when spiders unite, they can tie up a lion. When we connect, because we are disconnected, we're disconnected from those of like mind. We're disconnected from the best practices in our community. I don't care what it is that you want to do, what profession you want to engage in, what business you want to get into. I can introduce you to brothers and sisters all over America they are doing it to death. You just don't know who they are. You are disconnected from them. There is no power in disconnection. Okay? When we connect, we prevent interlopers from coming into our communities and taking and destroying at will.
Hi, George.
Try to open up the Booker T. Washington delicatessen in Chinatown and see what happens. So we must connect. We must connect the dots. That must be the movement for our people in the 21st century. We need a lot of us doing a little instead of a few of us doing a lot. We need to get together to get ahead. That is why we must network. That is what we teach at the Power Networking Conference in June in Cleveland. Come and visit with us.
Thank you, George.
Thank you very much.
Please
remember what it said in Isaiah. Remember what it says in Isaiah. And the voice of the Lord said, whom shall go for us? Then said I, here am I, send me. We must go, brothers and sisters. We must do this. We must take on the responsibility. We are responsible for our own success or failure.
Look at that.
That's it. That is the key. Jews buy from fellow Jews. So it is with Indians. They live a very simple life. Have you ever observed how Indians work when they're in their shop? A pupil will go to school. When school is done, on the counter, and the banda is picking the lollipops, picking everything, he's the one who is counting and giving the one who comes to buy. The son of banda is at home playing chiato. That is the difference that is there. So it begins from a household level, engagement. You know what? In Zambia, we have very few families which run a family enterprise together. The belief is that we should allow you to do what you want as an individual. In as much as you do what you want, we need to see your relevance for the connection of the family. It begins from there. So if your son has been trained to use his hands and his skill without a colonial mind, because it is this colonial mind that finishes school and become a doctor. Finishes school and become a so-so. See, we take pride in the name of a doctor. We take pride in this, the many just names, but we don't take pride in us achieving greatness. We have so much potential that God has invested in us. Only when we begin to work together and unite.
Oh, Jehovah.
That is key. So there should be a direct connection, the umbilical cord between the president and me from the rural area. There should be a collaboration. There should be a connection between the cabinet and the subordinates, between the church and other institutions, the church bodies, the governing bodies, everyone, and whoever is a citizen of the country should be involved in the production of food for the nation.
Now you see what you are saying, Mr. Salanda. When I say that sometimes our minds are cheap, 4 weeks ago, we went to see the president with my consultant, with my church administrator, his wife, my son, and we went to do the productions. What we are teaching here, we could not have started without the head of state knowing. And I know that between now, if we come together Zambians, the mathematics that we've worked out, Mr. Salanda, Zambia can generate not less than $5 billion in the next 5 years.
It's very possible.
Not less than $5 billion. We have worked it out. It is doable.
Because, Pastor, look, if, for example, the 50 chickens I was giving an example of, okay, you grow them, start selling eggs and everything, or sell them at 50 kwacha each, by the end of 1 year, of starting with 50, because 50, after a month of laying eggs, will give you a minimum of 30 chickens. Okay? So the 30, in the next 6 months, plus the 50, okay, now remember this is every month. Okay, so 30 this month, 30 next month, 30 the other month. By the end of the year, 30 times 12, how many chickens are those? It's not less than 1,500. So 1,500 in year 1 comes to give you at least each one of those 5 eggs per year. So 1,500 chickens multiplied by 5.
That is massive.
That's about 12,500.
Chickens, yes.
Yeah, about that. Within 1 year, 6. In the second year, 12,000. You can do the calculations. 12,000.
Let me get to the calculation.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's say 5 chickens. Okay, multiplied by 1,500.
1,500. It gives you 7,500.
That is 1 year, 6. Let's assume the other 2,500 have died. You've remained with 5,000 in year 2. Okay? So the 2,500 which have died is out of mortality, and they also cover your losses.
Yeah.
So remain with 5,000. 5,000 multiplied by at least each chicken just to give you 20 eggs the whole year.
Times 20.
Yeah.
It's 100,000.
100,000.
And that is just at least.
Those are at least. We're using the minimum value in 2 years. Multiply that number by 50 kwacha.
By 50 kwacha. It is 5 million kwacha.
So 5 million odd currency. Or rebased. This is rebased.
No, rebased.
That's rebased. 5 million in 2 years. Which civil servant get this type of an amount of money after 35 years of working? Which civil servant?
And we are working on a minimum.
We are working on the minimum number of 5. Not too many. 5.
Not 30.
Not 30. And this is at individual level. So imagine the government puts in a system to allow these get consumed on the market, and then support and export. And also once you export, it adds value. Or if you are to get this, then add value by processing, start making chicken fillets, making chicken sausage, and any other value addition that can be done to the chickens at household level. Or let's say, okay, let's remove everything. We give this responsibility to each district. Just a district. So the whole district, Chongwe, just to produce 100,000 chickens through the Ministry of Agriculture. Then you sell these chickens at that money. You make how much? 5 million. Okay? Now 5 million multiply by, let's remove 17 million. Let's come to 10.
Even if, as you are talking.
So you calculate that money
as you
against,
are talking,
against 10,000 fully matured men in Zambia.
As you are talking, this 5 million, if the Camnet TV viewers are listening, and we say, let's take just about 200,000 people, because the Bible says, blessed are those that hear and put into practice the word of God.
True.
Okay?
Yeah.
It is not just hearing, but practicing.
Putting.
Now, this is growing our lives. If we took 200,000 Zambians, not 17 million population, 200,000. 5 million times 200,000 times 200,000. Let me get it right here. Times 200,000. Look at the figure. 1, 2, 3. This is 1 trillion.
Yeah.
1 trillion kwacha. If you divide this by 20, our currency, it gives you $50 billion. When I say that within 5 years...
And how much are we owing? From the eggs, from the chickens, we can pay back the debt.
Minus fish.
Yeah, we are not
minus
talking about
avocados.
fish. Just chicken.
Minus...
Just chicken.
Mr. Director, open up the lines. You know, this is too frustrating sometimes, Mr. Salanda, when you know that you were born for greatness and you sit on the talent.
That's the thing.
And one of the parables Jesus gave is that he gave talents to people.
To each one.
And one got scared, just in case my master comes to ask me.
Let me just pack it.
Let me bury it. Let me become a civil servant. Let me find a job. That's burying what God has given you. And the master comes and says, give me what I left you with. You know, master, I was scared. So I went for a job.
You see?
He says, you wicked servant. What did I say? Children of the Most High God, the lines are open. If you want to contribute to Camnet TV as we are in here, use +260-968-675-273. 273 is the line that will get you into the studio. And if you can, Mr. Director, below, please open up the two lines which people can use to buy the tickets, because they've been coming here, they've been phoning on daily basis. And remember, we only have a few. That 500 kwacha includes registration and it includes food.
Wow.
Buffet. We are going to have, we must change our mind. We must come up with ideas.
No,
Mr. Salanda.
We need to come up with ideas, and at the end of the day, when the ideas have been put together, we need to go into production.
We will.
We should not wait for tomorrow. I usually say that procrastination is the only fertilizer that makes problems grow. Procrastination
Will you say that again?
Is the only fertilizer that makes problems grow. No, we'll do this tomorrow. We will do this tomorrow. As you are everything you are pushing them tomorrow, they are piling up. And that is the only fertilizer that will make problems grow and make you fail. So when we say things, they have to be done now. Don't wait for tomorrow.
And this is what we believe at Camnet TV, that we were born for greatness. Those of you that are calling, please call. The numbers scrolling down, MTN numbers and Airtel numbers, Zamtel numbers, those that are passing in blue, pick one and make the payment now. When you send your payment, just imagine that this Camnet TV is everywhere and people are watching. Already, you know, people are buying for the Copper Belt. You know?
There's another of the Copper Belt.
Yeah, we have, on the 10th, we are going to the Copper Belt.
I see.
The 10th of October.
Great.
We will be on the Copper Belt because people want to come over here. So we can only cater for
Lusaka.
Kafue, Livingstone, and all these who can come to Lusaka. And then we go to Kitwe. And mind you that what Camnet is doing, and we are compiling this, we are putting you in the data in the system. All these people you are hearing, and you must understand that our brother Kembo is just coming for that conference, the one on castor oil.
Yes.
Is coming just for that conference to speak and go back to Zimbabwe. And then you come on the 10th.
Copper Belt.
Yes, because we want to change the minds of people. Hello, good evening. Good evening, sir. Who is calling and where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Kitwe.
You are Mr. Kalaba. Please go ahead and speak to the nation.
Pastor Silva, these are the people that you want to help us business.
I am listening, sir.
That is not the way people are. Because the person who just moved up to that's happening here. You know, God creates you continue with this spirit. That's the way where we need to
We have been there, my reader.
That's why we have brought him here, Mr. Kalaba.
Seasons and times. Seasons and times, we are now here.
Our own money. Our own. So the government of the day, we don't point fingers at people.
That's right.
My God bless you together with Pastor Kiruwan, Brother Kiruwan, wife to be Mr. Kiruwan.
Amen.
Looking you to be seeing you frequent with this channel so that you learn more about Jesus. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amen.
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 Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Kalaba. You see, you hear that?
Yeah.
Mr. Kalaba says we must make our own money.
True.
I can tell you, since Engineer Chwala, even Mr. Honorable Crispin Musosha, when he came here, from 50 chickens, he has become the biggest farmer, chicken farmer, in the whole of Luapula.
You see?
And these Irish potatoes, Buya Bamba orders from him.
From him. Look at that.
He has bought graders, he has bought all the earth moving. Now he's gone into making roads
Making
from
roads.
50 chickens.
That's it.
And somebody should wait, just waiting for a job. I'm a teacher. For 3 years I've been left out on the...
And always complaining.
Always.
Yeah.
I've been left out, Pastor, pray for me. You know, some prayers are a waste of time.
It's difficult to pray for such.
Because God has given you the talent.
That's
Here
it.
are the chickens. You just go to Monze, you just go to Mukushi, buy 10 chickens
And start.
and start. Do you need the capital there?
No.
May the Lord bless you. CamNet TV viewers, those of you that are coming for the conference, remember we are only taking a few. That 500 kwacha involves registration and it involves lunch, and you are going to sit down with all our guest speakers. And remember, when a speaker finishes, there will be questions and answers.
Yeah.
There will be questions and answers. And in case you think that we are going to beam it live on CamNet TV, you have made a mistake. We are not. You come there. We don't want to be wasting knowledge on people who have no desire. You know that when what's his name, Dr. Kachaka spoke, one man traveled from the Copper Belt, jumped on a bus to come and buy a book for 200 kwacha. He says, I cannot wait to just, and he's gone back, he's thanking the Lord. He said, Pastor Chiluba, I'm very grateful.
Those are the minds that we need.
I bought the book and watch me after 3 years.
That's what we need.
Oh, Jehovah.
And you know, for example, if you don't have money, I've always told people, if you don't have money, there's always a starting point. Even help comes to those who begin. How do you convince someone of what you want to do? You have nothing. No, I want to start a fish pond. You have no land. No, that's why I'm still thinking of where I'm going to buy and whatnot. You know? Now, with chickens, it's one of the cheapest, my pastor. For 100 chickens, only 100 chickens, you only need 20 bags of feed in 6 months. 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 20 bags, 50 kg net in 6 months for 100 chickens. And we are selling, we supply feed, natural feed. We supply 200 and the...
Let's pick up this caller.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello?
Good evening, sir.
Yes, hello?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, thank you.
What's your name and where you calling us from?
My name is Howard, my pastor, and my friend is Katikula.
You are Katukula.
Yeah, I'm Harold, and my friend is Dustin.
Harold.
Yes, my pastor.
From where?
I'm calling from Kabul.
From Kabwe. Please talk to the nation.
Yeah, really appreciate for the initiative which you brought up. For the young man who is growing chicken, of which I'm very impressed of the initiative we have just brought up. And you, Pastor, also, we thank God for your goodwill. And for praying for us. And I'm really encouraged. Almost every time when I've got nothing to do, I always watch coming TV. And let God to continue blessing you and your family for whatever things for us. At least that kind of things they are making us open up our minds to at least venture into entrepreneurship. Yes. And I just wanted to thank you. Otherwise, I've got nothing much to say after.
Harold, you are a blessing.
Thank you.
You are a blessing. You know the other thing we have done, Mr. Salanda? There are people with 100 hectares, 300 hectares, 400 hectares. And let me say this. We have worked out a blessing for the owners of the farm. And here's what we are doing. Some of you have been calling. And one family, they have 778 hectares. When I spoke to them, both husband and wife, they've given 500 hectares to the community.
Wow.
They are remaining with 278 hectares. Here's the deal. Because just this conference that we are having on the 10th, I mean on the 25th and 26th, we are going to show the numbers to the people. How we are going to make the money. There is no way you have 100 hectares, Mr. Salanda, if you cannot bank $2 million every single year. It is unacceptable.
That's
and
possible.
This is what we are bringing to the table. That all the Zambians, they should not sell land. 10 hectares, we will be able to give somebody $250,000 after profit. And the markets are there. The off-takers are there.
You see?
This is not just something we are dreaming about. So my blood is boiling to the point that God give us time. Zambia will see. Not to be cheated. Come
It is
for
well.
the rally, come for this, I will do.
You know, it's time we create a link and a completeness between the lower class and the upper class. Because Zambia have very few middle class. Okay? We need to have a connection, a complete connection, where we can have millionaires, billionaires, stage by stage. Okay? And this is what happens in America. They have what we call a billionaires club, where Donald Trump is a member. Warren Buffett is a member. Bill Gates is a member. I don't know how many times they meet to discuss billionaires matters and how they are going to support the poor masses. That is a level we need to begin to reach as Zambians.
I'm telling
where
you.
those who have money, they come together and sit. How can we distribute this money to the need? We should not wait for the debate in parliament. For me to have a peace of mind in my community, for me to have electricity in my community, for me to have a borehole for the community, it has to take the entire constituent committee to sit to approve a 25,000 borehole size. It's unacceptable.
One pastor has donated 100 hectares in Mufrira. The family is taking 20 hectares. On that 20 hectares, they will be able to generate $500,000 easy, which they've never made per year. But we are registering 300 youths unemployed in Mufrira. We are moving to Kalulosha. We just want to practically tell the people that we can do it.
And it can be done.
We were born for greatness.
You know what we have done as an organization?
Let's pick up this call, Mr. Sanda. We'll come to it. Hello?
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
God is a man of God.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm Julius Kanjungu. I'm leading People of Destiny Church in
Julius Kanjungu.
Genius.
Genius.
Yes, please.
Yes, genius.
My heart is really pumping to hear such kind of wisdom and entrepreneurial teachings from the man of God.
Yes, sir.
I was seated next to my wife. I was saying, as I'm sharing this inspiration, I'm really moved. And I was telling her that when you see me move around, it's because of such kind of teachings. We have not to remain the same. We have to change our status. No one can change our status but ourselves through such kind of teachings.
That's it.
I am really inspired and just to speak to what the men of God are saying. Just behind our house, we have a small yard. I've just gotten a wire where I want to put some chickens. I've bought 9 chickens so far, village chickens. So I put the wire and I'm organizing for that. I want to start from there. Thereafter, I have a small land, about 4 hectares.
That's big.
I want to have a big production over that concerning village chicken and also tomato production.
Great.
How I wish when are you coming to Soweto? I can't, if you are coming to Soweto, I would have attended. When are you coming to Soweto?
We will give you the dates. These speakers, they've settled first to start with Lusaka. On the 25th and 26th, they will be in Lusaka. All of the people you have seen on Camnet. And then we are moving on the 10th. We will be in Kitwe.
Okay.
We will be in Kitwe where they will be speaking and bringing knowledge to people. But we will come to Solwezi. We will go to Chipata, Livingstone. But that, if you can, travel to Kitwe because it's shorter there. Come and get some knowledge. Come and get some knowledge.
I'm a lover of Camlet TV, so I'll be watching as you advertise the dates. I'll make a date.
Thank you so much, genius.
We really appreciate. We need such kind of people that can come up and open up and help the Zambian people, not people that can hide knowledge to themselves, keep knowledge to themselves, but people that are there for others as we are stewards, God's workmanship, not only spiritual, but also to lift other people that need help. We really appreciate you. Even coming to the man of God, we really appreciate you. Your teachings, we really appreciate.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
May God bless you, Mr. Kanjungu.
Thank you.
You know, he has just reminded one thing. We have been doing trainings as a company. I have a company called NutriGreen Investment, and actually those who are watching us can look for that name on Facebook. Yeah, it's called NutriGreen Investment. Yeah, you can like the page and then you can begin to follow. We post usually activities that we do there. There are times we have trainings. We train churches, we train individuals, we train groups. Yeah, we train farmers. Because we want to make sure that we take extension service to everyone. You know, currently, Zambia, we are standing at extension service. We are standing at 1,500 farmers against one extension worker. So meaning, in our camp where I belong in Chongwe, one extension officer should be able to service 1,500 farmers. That's a very big number. Okay? So now, because of that, we realized we can come in and supplement the workforce. That which we are able to do, we do it. Then the rest, the government picks it up. So we have been training. That's how these statistics of over 2,500 farmers that we have trained in the past 2 years. And guess what? We have over 1,200 on our palm. Because we have platforms. Our company has got 6 groups, WhatsApp groups, where all these farmers are. So when we train, we have a register. And we add you to the database. And we're in constant talk on a daily basis. You have any problem, you ask. We have lessons and everything. Right now, we are designing new lessons where we offer free online trainings every month to our farmers. The reason is we want to make sure everyone is involved, everyone is engaged.
Together.
Yes. So every day we talk. So before I came to this group, I posted, I will be on Camnet TV, we'll be doing ABCD, please follow. Those who've been asking questions on chickens, they are there. So right now, I'm sure they are following.
My director just received the advert. I'm sure before we close, they will be able to see that.
Yeah.
Camnet TV viewers, let me tell you something. You were born for greatness. Don't you ever go to the grave with those big ideas. The world is depending on you. The world is counting on you.
Yeah, actually, you know, one of my favorite writers says God is waiting that human beings should manifest, because there is someone out there that you may not see that is personally waiting for the manifestation of your talent. So there's someone who is out there. Until you do something, that life may not be saved. That life may not benefit if you don't. So you have disciples. I have disciples, and everyone else has disciples, either for the good or for the bad. And it's our duty to do the right thing now.
You can see what God has done through the church for us to establish Camnet TV.
Look at
there
that.
We are touching Solwezi.
Look at that.
Genius is there, just waiting to become what God has. Let's pick up this call. Hello?
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you, sir?
We are permanently blessed and highly favored by God. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm Pastor Lakson calling from Chingora, Daddy.
Pastor Lakson,
Sungu, yes, sir.
please talk to us, man of God. Speak to the nation.
Camnet TV is always a blessing to Zambia.
Amen.
This land of Zambia will change because of Camnet TV.
Amen.
I love the gentleman, the wisdom that is producing. Those are the minds which will change our nation.
Absolutely.
Our nation is sick because many people are sick in the mind. If people were to be healed in the mind, by getting the information that we are getting, our nation is going to be the same.
Amen.
I love the words that I'm getting. That each you are a blessing.
Amen.
I love you, sir.
We love you too.
So much.
Thank you.
And my minds are open right now because of the program. I'm following. I'm going to start fresh maize production. I'm going to start it now so that I'll be selling in January. And I'm going to do lukewarm. And I'll do also tomato. So because of Camnet TV, I'm going to enter into this production and I'll be productive, and Zambia will never be the same. I'm going to employ people. So nothing because of Camnet.
I'm telling you. Thank you, Pastor Lakson.
On the 10th of October.
We should be there, man of God. And if you can, please bring your church members. Bring your church members. Amen. Oh, thank you so much. Are you hearing that mind?
We are getting that. And that is what we need. So now, if he begins, another one begins, okay? And everyone else do the same. You know what is happening? Whatever resources we are going to be making, we are contributing to the national GDP. So the numbers, actually, the percentage will increase. And these issues of challenges being broken in the pocket and everything, it will be the story of the past. Because God has always wanted us to have enough. The issue is we need to make use of what God has given us. And
That's
what
right.
God has given us is the knowledge.
That's right.
Let's not underestimate and undermine ourselves. We have so much great power that we can use to change Zambia and change ourselves. And it begins with you. Okay? It begins with you. It begins with me. Now, earlier on when before the first call came, where I was giving out a brief background on how you can start 100 chickens, only 100 chickens, okay, with only 20 bags of feed, and you will spend not more than 6,000 to produce those chickens by the end of 6 months. Then after 6 months now, Start rearing the eggs. You get the eggs, incubate them, and repopulate the numbers. By the time you go in the second year, you will have over 2,500 chickens on your poultry or on your farm. So the question is, why should you start complaining with only 20 bags? And that just needs about 5,000 for 6 months, meaning you'll be spending about 1,000 kwacha per month for the 100 chickens to be grown. Honestly, is that difficult that we can do as Zambians? Do we need a miracle? Do we need the president to come and help us grow the 100 chickens?
Can you imagine
The key is to start. When you start, you have a convincing word to tell them, I have started, I'm lacking here. Okay? I've started here, my pastor, I am stuck here. Please help me with the 2,000. Will you refuse if a member comes tomorrow?
Absolutely
No.
not.
Why? Is because you have seen something has begun. The problem that we have is we rush into complaining, yet don't have anything.
You know, even Jesus, he could not have told Peter, cast your net on the right side,
Yeah.
if he was on the ground, on the land. But because he was already fishing, he said, Peter, have you caught nothing? He was in the
He
process.
was in the process. And that's why they say the battle is not fought outside. The battle is fought in the battlefield.
Oh,
You know, when I was doing my school, I was encouraged by one friend of mine who would tell me, I know it's tough with you. You are paying for young ones and everything. Just find transport, jump on the bus, come to school. The battle is fought in the battleground. Otherwise, if it wasn't for some of such encouragements, I would have given up school. And from that, I learned that we need to meet with challenges on the battlefield,
oh.
not outside.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
How are you?
We are permanently blessed. What's your name and where you're calling us from?
This is Francis Kasonda. I'm calling from Kasama.
Vakasonde.
In Kwara.
Please talk to the nation.
It has been a blessing speaking to community because each day I hear of community. I'm letting them show Monday. So the people that work China, China, she's 21 years and there I'm 22. That's better in China. So I'm going to say, which one will I have to Anyway, we can't wait to see you in Kasama. We are waiting for you. Kasama is proud of you.
No, we'll come back, Kasonde. We are very grateful and may the Lord bless you. Natasha sana wakasonderesa mipale. Amen.
Yeah, okay.
You know what we worked on, Mr. Salanda, was $50 billion, never forget, on chickens, which is doable.
It is.
For 200,000 people in Zambia.
It is.
Just saying, let's do this.
And that is just a small population.
Now,
A small segment.
when you come to castor seed, which we are bringing, and by the way, we got the permits.
Great.
And the trucks this week, if they don't land into Zambia, it's next week. But you can imagine, just for 10 hectares, somebody will be able to get $500,000
Look at that.
per year from just 10 hectares. You plant it, and here are the people that will say, I'll go for fish, I'll go for castor, I'll go for chickens, I'll go for this, and we haven't even talked about the fruit.
Yeah,
We
food
haven't
industry,
talked about,
the spice, we have the herbs, we
My
have the chili,
goodness.
we have
Yeah.
many other
you know, this nation,
activities to do.
this nation, sorry, please forgive me, I've got an appointment with politicians all the time. You know, we've been told lies for a long time. No, we are going to bring jobs. We are going to enrich your lives. You are not telling us that go and buy 5 chickens. From 5 chickens, the mathematics you are giving, buy 10 chickens. Anybody can have chickens.
True.
And from 50 chickens, somebody has bulldozers. From 50 chickens.
Yeah. You know, we have ministries, and these ministries should put to task. It's unfortunate that when you go to some of these ministries, you find officers are lazing around, chatting, playing games on the phone, doing nothing. And there's no accountability for the time that is being wasted. Every month, they draw salaries from our tax that we pay. And that pains me. Okay? We need to reach a level where productivity is seen. You know, it's a duty of me as an extension officer to engage and bring ideas to a farmer. Okay? And see what they are doing. I'm doing chickens in Chongwe. We have officers in Chongwe. They only here have chickens. No one has taken time to come and visit my plot, to come and see what I'm doing and what needs that I have for my chickens. So maybe there could be support or anything from there. Literally, there's nothing. And this is what is happening everywhere. You have extension service that is not working. Okay? So already, if the extension is not working, farmers are reluctant. You know, there are farmers who are like wheelbarrows. You need to push them every time. You push them every time. It's not their fault. It could be because of their background and their upbringing and everything. You can't blame them. The issue is we need people in the service who are proactive, who can bring change, who can see potential and transform lives. If me as an individual was able to touch over 2,500 lives in 2 years.
At 29 years.
What more of a person who has been employed to help the farmers in an area for 15 years? Yet there's nothing coming out of the extension service. There's nothing coming out from the rural areas. 90% of farmers who are producing are from the rural.
But I can
But support is limited. And this is the enabling environment we're talking about, that the president, through these ministries that are in charge, should be able to help Zambians. We have the ability to do it, and I will continue emphasizing this. The key that we need is how do we mobilize, sensitize them, tell them what to do, engage expertise. Like some of us who have seen the benefit of these things. Engage. Okay, let's do it. I wish we can reach a level where these extension officers can be also producing. So that when farmers are being taught, they have evidence of what they have seen. Because some people, they want to see empirical evidence. I mean, I cannot come on air and come and speak things that are not there. So if an extension officer is here to speak, he should speak with what he has. You know, it becomes easier for a farmer you are teaching to learn from you because you are a parent. But that is not happening in Zambia. And this trend is growing every day. It's growing every year. And what is happening is that we have the same people also ascending to higher positions.
Becoming directors,
go up, PSCs and everyone.
Ministers.
And the only thing that is there now is to push things in the pocket first. That's the challenge that we have. And it depends me as a citizen of the country.
We need
to reach a level where we engage people and make sure that each and every constituency makes a poultry and begin to produce 2,000 chickens, just minimum, every constituency. How many constituencies do we have? Multiply that by the number of constituencies. How many eggs will we have? And the deliberate policies put in place to be able to get these eggs. That's why we have ministries. The Minister of Agriculture, the Minister of Livestock should be able to be complete. There should be a connection from the farmer, the market, the road, until the end user of the food supply in the value chain.
I can testify to the fact that Honorable Katambo, who is Minister of Agriculture, him and I, we are on phone.
Great.
And the PS for Agriculture, we speak. And even his director. As I'm speaking, probably I could be wrong or right, but the president is watching this program because he's a keen follower of what is happening. And he said, Pastor Chiluba, you have my support.
Great.
He wants to see these things done. There is no way, I believe, all of us, we should go with a begging bowl, waiting for government to pour soup like missionaries. They go and get money, millions of dollars there, then they bring, what's this, porridge, and say we are feeding Africa porridge. Do you know that porridge in parents are all changed? And this is what is happening.
You know, if this mindset can go to every Zambian, if this mindset can transition to every cabinet minister, if this mindset can go to every parliamentarian, any policymaker, already that is the population enough to change things.
Absolutely.
Because everyone, when they meet on the cabinet table, they will speak one language.
Absolutely.
When they meet in the parliament, they will speak one language. When they go back to their constituents, they will speak the same language. Why? Is because there's coherence amongst themselves. Okay? And me as an end user, there will be an umbilical cord attachment with my parliamentarian. My parliamentarian and anyone else who is within the chain. And by the end of the day, you know, I'll be affected
now
positively
the problem
for the
is
change.
all of them, they are just, their minds is just on butane. Butane. No chickens, no fish, no what?
You know, you see, leadership has two parts. There's what we call influence and also cohesion and the fear for the unknown. Okay?
I hear you.
Yeah, so when it comes to the issue of influence, you do your part. That's what I believe in. I've been called to deliver what I have to deliver to my people. I do it. Regardless of the time I will be in the office. When my time has come, time has come.
Can we pick
And that
up?
should be...
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah, there's a call.
I know, I just want us to pick up some few text messages
Okay.
because people will blame us. I know they've... Is there a text message, Mr. Director? Very educative program. I usually sleep early, but today is something else. How can I be connected to you, Pastor? This is Mushiba from Choma. Mushiba, you are already connected with that same number you have used. Let's talk after this program and give me a call just on that same number. With the guests you are bringing on the national matters, our minds will be unlocked. Mr. Salanda, God is using you to unlock many minds in this nation. In this nation, of course. I believe even the prophets have taken advantage our laziness and the stealing money. Zambians should know that there is no sweet without sweat. God bless you. Indeed, Camnet is not just another channel.
Great. Great.
May God bless
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much.
Good evening, Pastor. Please continue blessing us with such kind of programs. This is what this nation needs for us to move out of poverty, not politics all the time. Stay blessed. Jonas Kabompo. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord bless you. Good evening, Pastor Chiluba and Mr. Salanda. I'm really blessed to be part of this wonderful program. We need to raise up to raise up together as Zambians, to rise up together as Zambians and make our, make what?
Our nation great, possibly.
Okay, to make our nation. Yeah, we need to rise up together. May the Lord bless you. Good evening, this is great. Zambia is changing. The truth is there. The truth is there. The truth there is no one will change our lives, but we the people ourselves. All we need is to move an extra mile. Talent is the only high-paying job one can ever get. This is wonderful.
Great.
Daniel Piri, may the Lord bless you. Sir, kindly elaborate more on the trees you are using to feed and treat your chickens.
Okay.
This is Chanda from Kitwe. Mr. Chanda, we are coming on the 10th. Buy the ticket. Or those of you in Lusaka, please come and you hear. He will have one session, 1 hour just to himself. Good evening, Pastor Chiluba and Mr. Salanda. I'm really blessed to be part of this wonderful program. We need to rise up. We read this one. Yeah, we need to. Okay. Good evening, Pastor Chiluba and Mr. Salanda. Great insight programming. You are the salt and light in our nation and generation. Camnet TV is a game changer. Thank you, Mr. Director. We are already into news time. You know, we can go on. Thank you, Mr. Director. Mr. Salanda, I must thank you. We are already late. But what we do, on the 25th, you have to answer these questions for the people that are coming.
Actually, this program was not a learning program, as in the way we pack our trainings. So as you have put it, we were just here to highlight issues that can bring change to our nation. And we have tried to handle here and there. But those who want the training, as you have put it, will give the best. Yeah. We'll train, we'll talk to length on production. From day-old chick, step by step, until marketing. And all the strategies we have put in place to succeed in the village chicken. People have cursed this industry that is not profitable. But some of us have tested the industry and we know what it means. Okay? Even if today I was appointed as Minister of Livestock, chicken would be one of the best production in the value chain to change Zambia upside down within a twinkling of an eye. And I've seen that happen.
So do we need to apply to His Excellency that he appoints?
It's at his discretion. Yeah, so let people come. Those who may want to get my contact, obviously you can get from me. Yeah, let them call. Let them like our page also on Facebook.
Mr. Director, give us, before we go, I know we are late, give us that clip for Mr. Salanda if you are ready, so that the people can see the company and the details.
They can
Why we avoided to give the personal line. Dr. Kachaka is not sleeping and there is a lot of trouble, but come on the 25th and 26th at the government complex. Please come and listen to these people. All the speakers you have seen here, you see them, you eat with them, and exchange notes. May God bless you. Give us that clip, Mr. Director. Mr. Salanda, we look forward to seeing you on the 25th.
Thank you so much.
I know you are one of the speakers.
We'll be available.
And on the 26th, we are so grateful for the knowledge that you have offloaded. Definitely, Camnet TV can't pay you, but to thank you.
It is
and that God will bless you.
Thank you. It was a privilege to be here.
Amen.
And thank you so much for our viewers who took their time to listen on the national matters. Wish you well until next time.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
Keep watching Camnet TV, and remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel. May God bless you.